Hello, friends, and welcome to my very first podcast YouTube episode. I'm really excited because this has been on my heart for a couple of months, and I'm just excited. I have a lot of different topics and ideas and things that I would like to talk about. And in order to kick us off, the very first topic I want to share on is the energy for 2026. One of the things that I do as an intuitive business coach is that I do year ahead readings, and I take the time to just tap into the energy of the upcoming year. So I do this in a very customized way for my clients, and see how them and their businesses are specifically playing with the energy of the upcoming year. But I also like to look at this from a bigger lens and for the collective. And so what I want to do today is I want to speak to the energy of 2026 for the collective. So I am going to speak a little bit on the energy of 2025 because, yes, our calendar closes out one year and starts another, but energetically, we have been building towards 2026. Every year that passes by is a year that is building on another year and another year. They are layers that are building on one another in order to ultimately create and cultivate what we are going to experience in this next cycle and wave. Because in reality, we as humans are moving through seasons, through cycles, and through waves. And all of it is layers that build upon each other to create the bigger picture that is ultimately our life, our vision, our mission, our purpose, and and just our life. So I want to start by sharing and laying the foundation of 2025 because for many of us, it was a hard year. I remember that when I was looking at the energy of 2025, what I was seeing was the energy of the dark feminine. I was seeing the energy of the dark femme for the year of 2025, and even back to 2024. 2024 was the year of the light feminine. 2025 was the year of the dark feminine. And now as we go into 2026, we're going to see how the coming together of those two energies creates the energy of 2026. But 2025 was the year of the dark feminine, and we experienced, and I say we because I know it wasn't just myself. I have had conversations with clients and other intuitives, and so I know that as a collective, we experienced deaths, grieving, sicknesses, the closing out of chapters, people, places, and things that just don't align with us anymore, that needed to be cut off, things that were weeds that needed to be removed. And that happened in terms of our outer circle, but it also happened in terms of within ourselves, right? So externally, you were having to cut out people, places, and things that no longer align with you. You were having to pull out the weeds of things that perhaps at some point were meant to be in your life, but now needed to be removed because they'd become weeds. And that's hard, right? It was a lot of releasing. It was a lot of shedding, a lot of letting go. And that's because the dark femme comes in and her energy does not mess around. Her energy is very like, cut the shit. We're not doing this. We're not gonna just pretend and play house and act like everything's okay when it's not. Like, we're gonna clear the clutter. And on an internal level, what this looked like and the work that I saw with myself and with my clients is that we were also being asked to cut the crap and clear the clutter within ourselves. And what this even looked like on a deeper level was understanding and getting to the root of the things that create the biggest blocks and barriers for us, right? And so one of the things I saw in 2025 was the need to close out certain cycles around big themes that have been blocks for us for a long time. So, for example, one of the things that was really big was like money, right? And so, what I saw is that with clients and as a collective, if you were on that journey of the inner work, you were being asked to come back to the same topics over and over and over again. And these are probably topics that you have been working on for the past couple of years. But the reason why you were being asked to come back to them over and over and over again is because that healing process happens in layers, and those layers were being removed, right? So let's say you were working through your blocks around money, that layer was removed, and then you'd come back to it again, right? And be like, here we are again looking at money, clear the next layer, and here we are again looking at money, clear the next layer, and here we are again, and over and over and over. Why? Because every time you did that, you would clear the layer and clear another layer and clear another layer with the intent and purpose of getting to the root. Because when you get to the root, you can now clear that in order to have a full, deeper cleansing of that block, that removal, that full shedding of here is what is at the core of this thing that has been blocking you, has been tying you down from experiencing what you are truly ready to experience, right? So in 2026, as I start to lay that groundwork and that foundation of the energy, it's the year of being fruitful and multiplying. It's the year of receiving the reward for the work that you have done. It's the year of reaping the benefits of your journey and the inner healing and the inner work. So, since I'm on the example of money, let's use that, right? So, if these past couple of years you were doing inner work and healing around your blocks around money, and then come this year you were circling back to it over and over and over again with the intention again of getting to the root of it, and you actually did the work. You actually showed up for the work to look at whatever crap was there, right? Like the dark femme was literally like putting it in your face and saying, oh, you're scared of money. Like, oh, you're scared of abundance. Oh, you're scared of pricing things a certain way. Oh, you're scared to invest. Oh, you're scared to lose it all. You don't have a sense of security over money. Like she was like in your face about it. And that's why it was like over and over and over again. But with the intent and purpose of getting to the root and the truth, because 2026 then becomes the year where you reap the benefits, right? So the universe always has a bigger plan. So if the universe knows in 2026, we are going to bless you with generational wealth. We are going to bless you with abundance. We're going to bless you with more money than you have ever seen. Then it's going to work backwards and say, so what is the work that needs to happen in order to get you there? What do we need you to face? What do we need you to heal? And what do we need you to overcome in order to get there? Right? Because some people want to just go and wake up there without realizing that waking up to our dreams, creating the reality that we desire, it doesn't just happen. It doesn't just show up at our door. I wish, right? It doesn't just come overnight. It happens because it is built upon years and years of work. It is built upon sacrifice. It is built upon hard decisions and hard choices, right? I was sharing this with, I think, a friend the other day about how the concept of overnight success, it's not truly overnight success. It is backed up by years and years of what has been in the works, right? So when somebody experiences overnight success, right, whether it's they found the love of their life and all of a sudden like everything is coming together, or the business is now successful and thriving, or they've made a lot of money, or they've done this or that, what people don't see is all of the groundwork that was laid in order to get there, right? In order to experience your overnight success, you have to lead a journey of hard choices, scary choices, facing your fears, the inner work, laying the foundation, doing the groundwork, working for it, working towards it, right? That's the reality that a lot of people don't see. They just see once you bear the fruit, right? It's like when we walk into a grocery store and you're able to just grab the fruit and take it. But behind that fruit was layers and layers of hard work and hustle and sweat and someone putting in the labor, right? Someone chose to go and plant the seed, water the seed, care for the seed, so that it could ultimately grow roots, pop up out of the ground, right? Create branches, leaves, become the fruit. And that took a long time. And then it's easy to now come and pick the fruit, but a lot of work went into that before you could pick the fruit. So when you see somebody going and picking their fruit and you want to assume that they are lucky or that they have more favor or that it's easy for them, keep in mind that there was probably a lot of work that was put in to get to that point. Right? I mean, even when I look at my own journey, I spent my 20s building businesses, building multiple businesses, right? And I had to sacrifice something. I had to sacrifice seeing other people in their 20s who were partying, traveling, they had just a different path. And it's not a bad path or a wrong path. It's what do you choose, right? Because now people, or I'm in my 30s now people who are in their 30s, they can probably look back at their 20s and be like, oh yeah, I went here and here and I did this and I had all these experiences. And when I look back at my 20s, I spent my time working and hustling and working a 9 to 5, coming home evenings and weekends, working on my business, working towards my business dreams. But now in my 30s, now I've been able to create stability and security and to do work I love and not have to clock in and out of a 9 to 5, right? And that was the path that I chose. And so now when people see me in my business and they see all these opportunities and all these things that I'm doing and these clients and this consistency and this sense of security, it was built on me putting in a decade of hard work, of sacrifices, of facing my fears. Okay? Because I used to be terrified to do video. I used to be terrified to be seen on screen. I had to face my fears. It was hard choices over and over and over again, hard work over and over and over again, right? So if you have spent the past couple of years doing the hard work, doing the inner work, facing your fears, not turning away from discomfort in order to stay comfortable, guess what? I hope that you are prepared for the magic, for the fire, for the abundance that 2026 is going to bring for you. You are going to bear the fruit of all the work that you have put in. So well deserved, right? I received a very specific analogy, a very specific example of what 2026 is going to be, because I was asking my guides, what is the energy of 2026? What can I share with the collective? And they gave me a very specific analogy that explains what these last couple of years have been and why they have been so hard, why it's kind of felt like it's been like hard upon hard upon hard, and what that's going to do for the new year. So what they showed me was a slingshot. And if you think about a slingshot, and you place something in it and you pull it back and back and back and back and back, that is what the last couple of years have been, especially 2025. 2025 was especially the year of the slingshot being really pulled back. And that's why it felt so uncomfortable. And that's why it felt so familiar, in the sense of like, oh my gosh, I've been doing the healing around this. I've been looking at this. Why do we keep circling back to it over and over and over again? Because that slingshot was being pulled as far back as possible. And this was probably the year where you experienced the ultimate discomfort, the ultimate, really getting to the root of the things that you needed to get to the root of, and facing the fears. But 2026 is the year where the slingshot is released, and now things move forward in full force, and they move forward quickly, right? That concept, overnight success, but again, built off of years and years of the work. But then when the slingshot's released, bam, it's quick, it's fast, but it's worth it. So those of you who have felt like you're in the pressure cooker these last couple years, especially again 2025, those of you who have felt like that slingshot was being pulled back as far as possible, and now you're like, all right, all right, this is about as far and as uncomfortable as I can get ready for the release. And today I'm actually recording this on the full moon in Gemini. And today's energy is very interesting, very Gemini, in the sense that I'm feeling both energies. I'm feeling the pulling back, and I'm also starting to feel the release, right? This is our last full moon of the year, and we're playing with both energies today. Why? Because the new energy is being presented. We're seeing that energy of the horse, right? And when I picture horses, I just see them like running wild and free, and they're just so like their strength, their beauty, and that's like 2026 is the year of that, the full, free, wild horse. Why? Because, and I'm getting chills as I say this, because when the light feminine and when the dark feminine come together and work together, and when you learn to love and embody and embrace both your light feminine and your dark feminine, and you learn how to work with both of those energies, and you learn to love all aspects of you and embrace the fact that you are a multifaceted, multidimensional woman, and that is your power. And when you own that, even the things, and especially the things that perhaps in your story you were taught were your flaws, or the things that made you weak, or the things that made you less than, when you realize that you actually have the power to alchemize those things and turn them into your medicine, your gift to the world, that is when you come into full fruition, full alignment, full power. And the past couple of years have been preparing you for that. And yes, it's put you through the fire. Why? To show you that you are an alchemist, to show you that nothing can break you, to teach you that you are more powerful than anything that gets thrown your way. It was not thrown your way to break you. It was not thrown your way to tear you down or to make you feel, or to turn you even into a victim. Because when you realize, oh, when I get torn down, I get to rebuild, and I get to rebuild stronger. And when you are broken and you realize I can come and put myself back together, but an even deeper and more aligned version of myself. Or yes, I can get burned down, but from those ashes, you better watch out what I'm going to create from those ashes. Because now at this age of 34 years old, I'm like, am I 34? I'm 34. That's wild. I finally, and this was like a realization I had this past year, I finally have arrived at a place where I feel like I've started to gain some wisdom and can say, I know I'm always going to be okay. Like, I have gone through enough shit in my life to know that I'm always going to be okay. And I'll see what I feel called to share on this podcast, how much of my journey, my story. But I've been through a lot. I've lived multiple lifetimes, and all of those lifetimes have led to me being who I am now, me being who I am today. And so now when shit gets hard, now when something gets thrown my way, I have enough wisdom and life experience to know I'm not only going to be okay, I'm going to be more than okay. I'm going to build back stronger, better, more aligned, more in tune, more authentic, deeper, more in my power. So bring it, because it becomes another gem on my crown. It adds another story that becomes more power for me on my throne. And when you realize that that is who you are, right? That you can handle anything. You can overcome anything. You just become more powerful. You become more magical. And 2026 is that year. Those of you who committed to doing the work, I congratulate you, because 2026 is the year where you get to fully awaken in all of your power, all of your glory, all of your abundance. You begin, keyword begin, to bear the fruit, because I believe that we're going to see it over the next couple of years. I did not look at the energy of 2026, or I'll say I have not looked at the energy of 2026 in terms of politics and like the world, and I'm getting a couple downloads here that I can share. Yeah, so the visual I'm getting here is like, it's this very interesting energy. I just want to be mindful of how I explain this, because I don't believe in like fear mongering, and that's not what I'm going to share here. But the way that I'm seeing it is I'm getting this visual of like facing things head on. So I do think that politically with society, obviously depending like where you live and such, but I think this does apply to like the world as a whole and to the collective. I think that we're facing a lot of things head on. We have been. We've seen that the last couple years. I do believe that's going to continue. Um, where, yeah, it's that energy of like the light feminine and the dark feminine. She's facing things head on. She has been. Like the dark feminine has been wreaking havoc in the best way. Like for those of you who have tuned into your dark feminine and have awakened her and have worked with her, she's amazing. Every single woman needs to awaken her dark feminine. But she wreaks havoc in the best way. Like she will flip shit upside down, but it's because it needs to be flipped upside down and because truth needs to be uncovered. So that's what I can say is like I just see this energy of continuing to face things head on, and let this be your reminder that let it be a reminder of your power. Yeah. What I can say here is like I'm just thinking back to the pandemic and how during the pandemic, I was working with a lot of business owners at that time, and I was helping them through the pandemic, and they all not only succeeded, they did better than they ever have, because when it hit, I was determined that none of my clients were going to close their doors and they were all going to be fine, and they were. They did better than ever. We just had to learn to pivot, be flexible, adjust, right? Which I believe we always need to know how to do that as business owners. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because, again, it's a reminder of your power. So it's very important to not allow the political climate or anything else that's going on in the world take your power away, right? I'm not talking about ignoring or spiritual bypassing. I'm talking about standing in your power and continuing to stand in your power and remembering that you are and will always be the most influential person when it comes to your life, your business, your finances, the way you live, the reality you want for yourself. Please remember that nobody can take that away from you. So be mindful of fear-mongering, right? Be mindful of what you're feeding your soul. Be mindful of what you are consuming, especially content-wise. If you have to stop your scroll sometimes, and take a break, do it. But yeah, it's important to remember. I'm just hearing the phrase like, remember who you are. And I do believe that speaks not only to this lifetime, but past lifetimes as well. Remembering your power, I think that's really important. So let 2026 be the year where you get to run wild and free, where that powerful woman inside of you gets to run wild and free, and embracing both her light feminine and dark feminine energies, and allowing those to dance and create anything and everything you want to create in the new year, because you have the power. You are not a victim. You are never stuck. That is the biggest lie you could ever believe. You're never stuck. You are not a victim. You do not have to play a passive role in your life and wait to see what happens. You get to choose. And I hope that as you watch this video, you choose, or as you listen, that you decide what you want to create for 2026. And may nothing and no one stop you from doing it. Because really the only one who can is you. So give yourself full permission to go for it. Yes, even when shit gets hard. Yes, even when it looks like there's all closed doors. Let your faith be bigger than your fear. Believe that if there isn't a path will be created for you. Believe that if it's impossible for you, it's possible. Believe and dream again, because 2026 is the year to do that. So I hope this inspires you. I hope it motivates you. I hope it lights a fire under your ass in the best way, because it is the year to move forward. So I look forward to seeing the magic that you choose to create in 2026, and may it be a blessed and abundant year full of health, wealth, and peace. I'll see you in the next one.